Well, good afternoon, fuckers. Back at it. If you remember, that trailhead back there is where we ended up after we did the rim trail around Crater Lake. And then the trail angel Bo came and picked us up and drove us to Shelter Cove. So it is now Monday, September 23rd. It's around 2 p.m. and we essentially just did the opposite. CC and I rented a car from Seattle. We drove to Shelter Cove and parked the car, and then we had a nice trail angel named Michael drive us from Shelter Cove down here to Crater Lake. This section of trail is now reopened. There is still a little bit of it that's closed, so we do still have to take some Forest Service roads and things, but most of it's open. So we're going to be hiking from here at Crater Lake back to the car at Shelter Cove. It is about 60 some miles, I believe. Carrying 3 days worth of food to try to get her done. Had a great couple days off. Spent a little bit of time in Seattle. Ate some good food. Had good drinks. Things like that. Didn't do anything too crazy. Spent a lot of time in the car, really. And then last night we stayed in Eugene. Just a cheap Motel 6 or whatever. It was right next door to a Denny's, so I had Denny's for the very first time this morning, and I was pleasantly surprised. I've always heard how shit Denny's is and whatever, but it was damn cheap and it was pretty fucking good. So now I'm wondering if there's a fucking Denny's back home somewhere. I don't know if there is, but enjoyed a big meal there this morning, and then we resupplied and made our way here. Don't have any plans for mileage today. Getting a late start, obviously, so we're just gonna do what we can. Sat back there at the trailhead and had a lunch. Packed out bagels for breakfast this time around. Bagels and cream cheese, just for something different. But I had to sacrifice one for today's lunch because I didn't think to cold soak anything. So I guess I'll be having a cold soaked ramen for breakfast one of these days, which I don't mind. Last night in my hotel room, I got hungry. We showed up there pretty late, like it was close to midnight. And as I laid down to go to bed, I started getting really hungry. So I fucking cold soaked a ramen in the hotel. And as soon as it got somewhat soft, I just ate it and then went to bed. Made me feel like true hiker trash right there. But anyway, ready to bang out this section. I don't think the elevation gain is too bad throughout the next few days, so I think it's going to be relatively flat. I have a feeling that we're going to cruise right through this. I should also mention the victory lap going from the monument back to Hart's Pass actually wasn't too bad. It was a little cold. We had some hail the one morning, actually. I think it was snowing in some areas. Definitely got cold through the night, but doing all the climbing and all that, it really wasn't as bad and not as much of a drag as I thought it was going to be. We did run into a few more of our friends as they were on their way to the monument, which was cool. And then when we got to Hart's Pass on Friday afternoon, evening, whatever it was pretty late. We weren't there for more than 2 minutes, and a gentleman was sitting in his truck at the trailhead, and he said, "You're Hollywood and CC." He said, "Yeah, I've been watching your videos and Chap's videos since the beginning and was hoping to run into you guys. So he was nice enough to give us a ride into Mazama. His name was Keith. Thank you, Keith, for the ride. You made it so easy for us. We didn't even have to hitch or even really think about a ride. He was already there when we got to the trailhead, so thanks again. But anyway, he took us into Mazama, and we camped at the Lion's Den hostel for the night, and that place was fucking awesome. Really cool setup, all donation based. Of course, we left donations, but definitely the ideal hiker hostel setup in my opinion. Definitely stay there once you get done. And I'm gonna insert a video here for you of some bear cubs that we saw there. As soon as we got to the place, they were climbing in this tree right above somebody's tent, and they were messing around the tenting area all through the night, these two cubs. We never did see Mama Bear, which the lady that runs the hostel said that Mama's obviously usually with the cubs. So we were a little concerned that maybe something happened to Mama Bear, but we don't know. Anyway, here's that video you can check out.
They want his chips. They look really perked up when they heard him open his bag of chips.
That's a mama spiel.
So while we were there, we were able to shower, get cleaned up. We ate at the brewery in Mazama, and then the next morning we had breakfast at, it was like a bakery and a coffee place. And then we got picked up by some folks that Cece knows, and they were wonderful. They took us to their home to do our laundry and have lunch, and then they gave us a ride into Seattle. So it just all worked out really nicely for us. Everything was very easy, nothing was much of a hassle. So couldn't have asked for much more at the end of the journey. Anyway, that's enough rambling for right now. I'm gonna try to knock out some miles here. All right, y'all, we're about a little over 9 miles in, and we hit this water cache here. The water situation through this stretch is not great, but thankfully this is here, and I think we're gonna just call it for the day and camp here. There's a bunch of flat spots right over there, and no real reason to push it much farther. It's a little early. I mean, I think it's around 6 o'clock. So we could go for another hour or whatever, but I think we're just gonna call it. So I'm gonna get this tent set up and check in with y'all in a little bit. All right, y'all, that's all I got for you on this short day of hiking. First day back at it. Just got my teepees brushed, and I'm gonna go lay in my quilt and get warm. It's starting to get cold now that the sun's going down, but it's a good day. Nice flat cruisy miles. I hope that continues. But it's nice to say goodnight to y'all in the daylight for once. But I'm going to leave you with that. Hope you all have a good night. Thanks for sticking around and watching these bonus videos, if you will. And catch up with you in the morning. Good night.